So my dear children, in the earlier chapter, we discussed about the several life cycles of organisms. Now, I told you that within this chapter, we'll be discussing mainly about like what kind of a purpose do we get by studying these life cycles? What is the importance of studying life cycles of organisms? So within this chapter, my dear children, we'll be discussing those details related to the, right, given here like in here, the importance of learning life cycles. Importance of learning the life cycles. So mainly we can divide. So the importance of learning about the life cycles, mainly we can divide the importance into three main categories. There are like three main users. Under that there are several things which we need to learn. But however, we can categorize the importance into three main levels or three main types. Number one, we can learn about life cycles of organisms and we can utilize that knowledge to control pests, right? Pest is an organism, okay? Pest is an organism who is living within the environment of a certain plant or else a certain agricultural land, or sometimes it can be an animal as well. Okay, that's why I told you that as an agricultural land. Specialty in a pest is that pest is going to harm the plant or the agricultural or for the agriculture, right? Pest is harming for the agriculture or the plantations. So that's what do we mean by a pest. So to control those pests, for an example, if you take the paddy plant cultivation or paddy cultivation, paddy fields, okay, there is a organism called paddy fly. So paddy fly is going to harm the paddy cultivation. So we won't be able to get our harvest if the paddy fly is going to harm the paddy cultivation. So paddy fly can be considered as a pest to the paddy cultivation, my dear children. Okay, so that is what do you mean by a pest. If you take fruits, now let's imagine that we have a mango plantation or else papaya plantation. So for mango and papaya, there is a pest which is coming who is referred as the fruit fly. Like in the earlier chapters, we come across the term about the fruit fly. So fruit fly is an organism who is going to harm, right? Fruit fly is an organism who is going to harm those plantations. Actually, the fruits which is created from those plants like papaya and mango will be destroyed by the maggots created within the fruits. So those maggots will be, right, those maggots are coming to the fruit by the fruit fly. Okay, so fruit fly is a pest for the cultivation of mango and papaya, like mainly fruits. Okay, so my dear children, pest means those kind of organisms who harms the cultivation of a certain thing, or else in agriculture it can be for, it may be for the animals as well, no? Pests. Okay, then for controlling disease vectors, for controlling disease vectors, so special pests, okay, which are, you know, like spreading diseases, special pests which are spreading diseases can be considered as a vector. They can be considered as a vector, right? Special organisms who can carry diseases from one place to another. Actually, in here the diseases means they are not going to carry the disease. They're going to carry the pathogen who is going to conduct the disease, right? These organisms not going to carry the disease itself. But however, these organisms carry the pathogen who is going to give the disease for the different organisms. For an example, if you take a mosquito, you know that within these days, right? Within these days, you know that there is rain. If there is rain, my dear children, right, then there is a problem. What is the problem? Mosquito breeding places are going to be active, and these mosquito breeding places is going to, right, give rise to mosquitoes in large extent. So there might be cases, severe cases of dengue. So dengue is a terrible disease that's going to happen because of a virus. So that virus is the one which is considered as the pathogen here. The dengue mosquito is carrying that pathogen from one place to another, from one organism to another, from one human to another. Okay. So vector means that organism or that animal that carries pathogenic microorganisms from one place to another, or from one organism to another. To control those vectors, we can use the knowledge of life cycles. Okay. Then, for the conservation of biodiversity. So to conserve the biodiversity, the beauty of our nature, right, we can use the life cycle, knowledge of life cycle. So let's discuss each of these facts and we'll get a knowledge about uses of learning or the importance of learning life cycles, my dear children. Right then. So the first and foremost topic given here under the uses of studying life cycle is the pest controlling. So an insect or other small animal that harms or destroys crops, garden plants or trees that are useful is known as a pest. Okay, pest. So insect or other small animal that harms or destroy crops, garden plants or trees that are useful is known as a pest. So pest means, in simple, this is an organism or else an animal that is going to harm for our agriculture, for plantation in simple. Okay, especially for the plants. So if a certain pest is going, if a certain animal is going to harm our agriculture and plantation, then that animal is considered as a pest. Then that organism is considered as a pest, my dear children. So a pest massively harm the crops. So it's going to massively harm the crops, right? For the crops, agricultural crops, the pest is going to harm massively. Okay. Then studying about the life cycles and the behavior of these pests is important in controlling them. Now, you know that we studied about the life cycles of different organisms. By studying their features, we could get a knowledge that there are some certain stages of these organisms, especially about these insects. That's when you take a certain stage, by observing the features, you can get a then quite easier stage to destroy or to control the pest. For an example, if you take a frog, my dear children, now adult frogs are pretty much difficult to destroy. I mean, like, if you are going to eliminate frogs, it's difficult to eliminate adult frogs. Okay. Best method to eliminate adult frogs is to eliminate their eggs or the tadpole, right? So tadpole and removing tadpole and eggs is the best way of removing frogs from a certain aquatic environment. Okay. So my dear children, it's because that if you take the egg stage or the tadpole stage, these stages are pretty much vulnerable to external threats. So these stages are referred as sensitive stages. Means that is the most weakest or the most weaker stage in their life cycle. Means that within this stage there is a high probability of getting destroyed. I mean, like, they have high probability in dying. So therefore this is referred as a sensitive stage. Within the sensitive stage, my dear children, we can observe several organisms. But this thing only for some time, okay? Only for some time we can observe several organisms. Like if you take a tadpole is not living as a, just one single organism. Okay? If you take a tadpoles are living as colonies. There are like hundreds of tadpoles. It's because the tadpoles are very vulnerable, right? Larger fish is going to, if you take a larger fish, right, larger fish are feeding on tadpoles. Sometimes birds may catch tadpoles as they are very, weak in locomotion. They can't locomote that much faster. Tadpoles are locomoting quite slowly, means that they can't swim very fast. So therefore, they are easily getting predation or predated by a different type of an organism. Okay, they are easy prey, tadpoles, for the birds and other big fishes. So my dear children, in a pond or in any kind of an aquatic environment, we can observe several tadpoles who are living. But however, only few are getting remained, and only 2 or 3 frogs are coming out from that. That's why it is referred as a sensitive stage. So we can identify that sensitive stage of a pest, and we can eliminate the pest by eliminating that sensitive stage. If that stage is not there, then the pest will definitely not come. Okay, so the identification of these sensitive stages by studying their life cycles will definitely help to control pests in an agricultural land. Okay, then the third point which is given here, let us study the life cycles of a fruit fly, a pest insect. Okay, before that, studying about the life cycles and the behavior of these pests is important in controlling them. So I told you and I have explained you why it is important. Okay, so now we are going to study such kind of a pest. Okay, so that pest is, my dear children, life cycle of a fruit fly. So we studied about the life cycle of a fruit fly, not in detail, but however I mentioned it, say, like several times. Fruit fly is an organism who undergoes in complete metamorphosis and so on. I have mentioned several key features related to the fruit fly. Okay, so now it's time to study about that pest who is referred as the fruit fly. Okay, by studying the features or by studying the life cycle of fruit fly, let's see how to control the pest of fruit fly. Okay, so study the life cycle of a fruit fly, a pest insect that involves in destroying the crops a lot. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the life cycle of a fruit fly. So I told you that fruit fly is a organism who goes in complete metamorphosis. So you can observe the 4 different stages: eggs, larva, pupa and the adult fruit fly. Okay, and the second stage, especially the larva stage, these are like maggots. Are not similar, but however like maggots. Okay, right, so these are like maggots, larval stage, right, small worms, right? So those worms are getting converted into a pupal cocoon. Then the pupal cocoon is going to burst, and an adult fruit fly is coming out. Then these are the ones who are going to lay eggs once again, right? So we'll study about the life cycle of a fruit fly, and we'll observe what are the key things, and let's see how to control the effect of fruit fly by studying about the life cycle. So it is given pest controlling. Under the pest controlling, the adult female fly, right, adult female fly, adult fruit fly, female one, lays egg by pricking the fruits such as mango, guava, etc. So the adult one is going to pierce or prick the fruit surface and lay eggs on it. Okay, lay eggs. Like when they are laying eggs, there should be a fleshy part so that the maggot can eat. Okay, mainly they are using those kinds of fruits. So what are the examples for those? Mango, guava, papaya, and so on, right? If there is a fleshy part, then this fruit fly is going to come and prick them or pierce them and to lay eggs inside the fruit. Okay, then the larva feeds on the flesh of the fruit, gradually moving in by making tunnels in the fruit. Now, my dear children, when you cut a fresh mango, right, you may have seen that there are like tunnel-like structures within the fruit. It's because of the effect of larva, right? Fruit fly larva. That organism is eating the fleshy part and moving forward. So that fleshy part, the area which the fleshy part is being eaten by the fruit fly, maggot, can be observed as tunnels. When it's moving, when it's going to eat and move, those things can be observed as tunnels, right? Small pathways. So if there are like tunnel-like structures, small pathways, don't eat those fruits. You have to throw it away because there are maggots. Definitely there are maggots. So don't eat, throw those things away. Okay. So my dear children, these maggots, they're going to feed on the fruit, the fleshy part of the fruit. So the fruits get rotten and they become unsuitable for consumption. So finally, my dear children, when 2 or 3 days are going to pass by, several microorganisms are act on these fleshy parts, as there are several maggots are also there, right? So microorganisms are going to now destroy the entire fruit with the maggots, with the help of the maggots, and these fruits now becoming becoming unfavorable, and they are not suitable for consumption. So we have to throw it away. There is no use it. There is no way of using it. So the fruits get rotten and they become unsuitable for consumption. Also, the value of the fruits get reduced. So value of the fruit is also getting reduced. I mean, like if there are 2 or 3 bad mangoes, now you're going to buy mangoes, you're going for a seller, right? If you're buying like large number of mangoes, then you're asking for a sample for sure. So the vendor is now going to cut and give you a piece. So after looking at the mango, you can clearly observe that there are tunnel-like structures. So you are going to remove it and you are selecting another one. Again getting cut, and again the same procedure can be observed. So in that case, you won't be able, you will never buy fruits from that vendor. You will go for a different place. So the value of the fruit is also getting reduced. As means that we have to throw it away. There is no way of using it. So it's a waste, right? It's a terrible waste. So this fruit fly is a terrible pest who is going to bother our agriculture, mainly for the fruits. So the life cycle can be observed like this, my dear children: eggs, larva, pupal, and then the adult fruit fly. Pupal cocoon can be observed within the structure of the, or within the life cycle of the fruit fly. So therefore I told you that this is an organism who is undergo incomplete metamorphosis. Okay, so all 4 stages can be clearly observed within this thing, my dear children. Right, so now we have studied the life cycle now, and we studied how this life cycle, or what stage of the life cycle that really harms the fruit, especially, right, the especially larval stage of the fruit fly destroys the fruits. Okay, larval stage is the one which is going to destroy the fruit, right? Main reason behind rotting fruit is the larval stage, the maggots which are coming out from the bursting of eggs which laid by the adult fruit fly. Right then, my dear children, so let's move on to see what are the other contents and how to control the pest of fruit fly, right, which is going to harm the fruit. So the larval stage is most likely and easiest way to control the fruit fly. So I told you that, my dear children, larval stage is the, like the sensitive stage of the fruit fly, and it is the easiest way of getting rid of these pests. Okay, so the much more easier way to destroy the pest fruit fly is destroying the larval stage. By that way we can, we can destroy the sensitive stage. So upon destroying the sensitive stage, we can control the pest fruit fly. So you are given with 2 points here. Regular inspection of the harvest can control the fruit fly. If larvae are found in fruits, those must be destroyed, right? So if larvae can be found within the fruits, okay, first of all we need to pluck these things off and we have to destroy these things. Then by that way we can destroy the entire generation of a fruit fly, right? We can destroy entire generation. Like new flies are not going to born. However, then how come the new flies are not going to born? Because we are destroying the larva. Then larva is not getting converted to a pupal stage. Then pupa is not getting converted to a adult fruit fly. So we are going to destroy entire generation of it. So by that way we can control the pest up to a certain level within our agricultural land, my dear children. Okay, so it's easy to destroy the larva contained within the fruits. So if the fruit is having that larva, we have to remove those things and destroy. Okay, otherwise those will go to the different places as well. Okay, so we have to regularly inspect those fruits, and if there are contaminated ones, then we have to remove and destroy those fruits. Then fallen fruits that are infected by larvae should be collected and destroyed. Now this is a fallen fruit. This is a fallen fruit. You know that normally rotten fruits are getting getting fallen down from the plant. Most of the times the reason for rotten process, or the main reason for rotting, is because of the fruit fly larva. Now as fruit fly larva is going to eat the fruits, right, different microorganisms come and act on the fruit, and then finally it will rot. So this rotting process is mainly created by the fruit fly larva within the fruits. So if there are rotten fruits, first of all we have to take these things off from the ground and we have to dispose them and we have to destroy them. By that way we can destroy the fruit fly larva, and it helps to control the pest of fruit fly. Okay, So larval stage of the fruit fly is the sensitive stage of, right? That is the sensitive stage of fruit fly. So by destroying that larval stage, we can do what? We can control the pest of fruit fly up to a certain level, my dear children. Okay, so this is the best way of controlling fruit fly pest. Okay, so we got this knowledge by studying about the life cycle of fruit fly. By looking at the life cycle, we could clearly see that larval stage is the easiest stage to destroy a fruit fly. Adult fruit flies are hard to catch. Eggs we can't even observe from naked eye very clearly. Pupal cocoons are inactive. So those things are also cannot be, like clearly visible to us. Even now you have to, if you want to observe, then you have to cut and see. So it's not clearly visible. However, maggots are, like we can observe maggots very clearly, right? If they are by regular inspection, we can see whether the fruit fly has pierced down the fruits or not. So by that way, we can come into a conclusion whether the maggots are within that structure of food or within the fruits or not. Okay, my dear children. So the easiest way of destroying fruit fly is to destroy the fruits which are contaminated by the fruit fly larva. So by disposing those fruits, we can save the other harvest. Okay, right. Then this is how to control the fruit fly pest by using the life cycle of a fruit fly. Right, then an activity is given. So in this activity, we are going to find out several pests like the fruit fly, and we are going to investigate what are the crops or the fruits that these organisms are going to feed or destroy. Okay, how to control and how to minimize these pests from the agricultural lands. So in here we'll be discussing about several common pests that we can observe within agricultural lands, my dear children. So here an activity is given, articles or magazines written on pests that destroy crops and their life cycles. So we have to find out articles and magazines. Actually, you can definitely refer the internet for these things. Okay, by looking out, if you have articles or any other magazines or any video clips regarding these pests, then you can go ahead and watch these things. But however, it's easy to use the internet, and by using the internet we can find out different images, video clips regarding the pests and also their life cycles, my dear children. So we first of all we have to identify the life cycle. Okay, first of all we have to identify the life cycle. Then we are going to observe the life cycle and we are checking which one is the sensitive stage. Then by destroying the sensitive stage, we can control the pest up to a certain level. Then method is given, make a list of pests that destroys crops. Tabulate your findings in the table. So we have to make a list of pests that is going to destroy our plantation or agriculture. Different types of pests, right? Different types of pests need to be found. So pest controlling is pretty important for the agriculture, my dear children. So we have to find out the pests who are going to infect in the agricultural lands. So we need to tabulate those pests. Then after that, we need to find out how to control them. So in these cases, you can refer the internet or else articles, newspapers and any other magazines. So then what do you have to do? You have to identify their weak stages by studying the life cycles. Then you have to tabulate your findings within the structure given in the table like this. So the pest insect is given. So these are the pests that you need to find. The first one, fruit fly. We studied about the fruit fly earlier. Like that way you study about the coconut weevil, coconut red weevil, right? Coconut red weevil, type of a, like beetle like organism. Then paddy bug, mealy bug. Okay, paddy bug and mealy bug. Paddy fly, right? Paddy fly, paddy bug, mealy bug. You have to observe these things. Then the crops which are affected, okay, crops which are affected by these organisms or these pests. Then mostly affected place, which part of the crop is most affected? Now fruit fly is going to affect for the fruit. The paddy bug is affecting for the paddy seed. So like that way you have to find out which part of the plant is mostly affected by the pest. Then finally, stage of life that can control or that destroys the crop. Okay, the stage of life that destroys the crop. You have to write down then what is the stage of life that destroys. Mainly, what is the stage of life that the pest is going to depend on the plant. Okay, so this is the table that you need to complete, my dear children. So before I'm going to complete the table, right, you go ahead and find out the details of these organisms, then try to complete the table. Then after that, when I'm going to discuss, find out, check whether your answers are correct or not. Okay, right then. I hope that you will conduct it right now and you will find out your correct answers and wrong answers when I'm going to discuss the things in our next slide. Okay, so find out and after that correct it, okay, by using my answers. Okay, now let's head on to see how to complete this table. So my dear children, the fruit fly, mainly crops like mango, banana, then papaya, those kinds of fleshy fruits are being consumed by fruit fly pest. Then the mostly affected place is the fruit, fleshy part of the fruit. The stage of life cycle that destroys the crop is the larval stage, because larva is the one, or that maggot, right? That maggot is the one who is going to eat maggot like worm like maggot. That's the one who is going to eat the fruit. So it's going to destroy the fruit, right? Then after several days the fruit will also get rotten because of the action of these organisms and as well as for the microorganisms. Then we have to throw it away. So fruit is getting affected heavily by the larval stage of the fruit fly. Then the second one, coconut red weevil. Coconut red weevil. So coconut weevil or the red weevil is mainly affecting for the coconut plants. Okay, coconut plants. So I think you have seen there are coconut plants which the coconut plant leaf is being eaten by a certain type of a organism. Now the leaves are being drowned out. Okay, up to a certain extent the leaves are being eaten. So at that case the other leaves will dry up and it will come down. Okay, so that's because of the coconut red weevil. It's going to feed on different parts of the plant, like the fruits, leaves, and also with the stem. Okay, so if the red weevil is going to pass on to the stem, then my dear children, when the time is going to pass by, the whole plant is going to die, because it's going to feed on the plant stem for a longer time period and it's going to destroy the entire plant. Okay, entire plant is going to destroy when time is going to pass by. Then the stage of the life cycle that destroys the crop is the larval stage. Okay, larval stage. Larva is the one who is eating the plant. Then the next one, paddy bug. Paddy plant is the crop which is affected. Leaves and stem is the main part which is going to affect. Then adult and nymph. Adult and nymph stages are the ones that harms the, right? That those are the stages that harms the stage of that destroys the crop mainly. Okay, which harms or which destroys the crop mainly. Adult stage and the nymphal stage. Both these stages are going to harm or to destroy the crop. Then the next one, the mealybug. Mealybug going to destroy mango, rose apple, guava, papaya, brinjals and chilies. Right? Most of the times, like fruit-like plants. Okay? These plants are going to be destroyed by the mealybug. Then mealybug is going to affect, right? The mostly affected place of the plant is leaves and the fruits. Okay, leaves and the fruits. Then adult mealybug is the one who is going to, right, eat these parts. Okay, adult mealybug is the one who is going to eat this part. Right then. So my dear children, these are the important things or important pests that you need to learn. All of these pests are, like they are giving much trouble to farmers. So we should have the knowledge, the necessary knowledge in controlling these guys. So it is given that the actual methods you can use to control pests and the ways these methods can be used together is based on an understanding of their life cycles. The method used to control the stage of larva cannot be used to control the adult pest insect or its any other stage. So like I told my dear children, as these organisms are having different stages of life, we have to identify the most vulnerable stage. Then we have to destroy. It's because that when the organism is passing from one stage to another, their features are going to change dramatically. So therefore, by applying the same case, we won't be able to destroy that pest. So first of all, we need to identify the most vulnerable stage. In order to identify that, we have to have a good knowledge about their life cycles. So that's the importance of learning about life cycles when we are going to control the pests. Okay, so it is given. So let's move on with the next slide. So, therefore, controlling pests can be achieved effectively by controlling different phases of their life cycle. Pests can be pest insects and also pest plants that destroy the crops. My dear children, now in earlier cases we discussed, okay, only about the organisms, only about the animals especially, right, only about the animals, right, that's going to harm for an agriculture. However, there are some plant pests who is going to harm the agriculture, means that these plants are going to destroy the plant, the agricultural plant or the plantation that we need, that we utilize, right? So pest can be either an animal or else a plant also. So examples given, bajiri, kudamet and tunis are pest plant of rice crop, right? Then bajiri, kudamet, tunis are some, like pest plants that harms the rice crop or the paddy fields. These plants absorb all the nutrition and they're going to destroy the paddy plant. So therefore, there are some plants as well, like Tunas, right? Then Kudamet, then Bajiri. Then these plants are also considered as, my dear children, what? Pest plants. Okay? Pest plants. Then many pest controlling methods are used to prevent the harm of pest on crops or harvest. It is our duty and responsibility, right? It's our duty and the responsibility to protect the living beings in the environment. Now, my dear children, I'm going to ask you a question. A simple bit of a question. Is it okay to destroy entire civilization, I mean like entire species of an organism just by like one click if they are harmful? So I told you that the fruit fly is harmful for the fruits now. So within like 2 or 3 seconds, let's say that we have got an advanced technology. So by using this technology, I'm going to destroy entire species of fruit fly. Right? Entire species of fruit fly is now gone. There is no fruit fly anymore. So is it a good thing? No, it's not. It's because that every living creature on our biosphere, they have the right to live. They have the right to live. Controlling and entirely destroying are two different things. Controlling means not 100% destroying. Controlling means up to a certain level, right? We are minimizing the population. Entirely destroying means a species is going to now eradicate from our living land. So that's a terrible situation. It's going to harm the biodiversity for sure, because after some time we won't be able to see a fruit fly, right? If that thing is being eradicated from our living land, then how come we could observe fruit flies? So it's a terrible situation, because each and every organism living in our biosphere, they have the right to live. So here we are discussing only about minimizing or controlling, not to eradicate. So it is our responsibility. We have a deep responsibility, okay, in protecting these organisms, right? In protecting these organisms, because they also have the right to live. So this will help to conserve the biodiversity and the environmental equilibrium. The traditional methods of controlling pests used by our ancestors are eco-friendly, and nowadays farmers tend to use these methods to control pests. Now, you know, these are organisms now, so they have the sense. If a certain environment is pretty much threatened for the survival of these organisms, right, then these organisms will not come to that place. So only thing that we need to do is, upon controlling, these organisms will tend to move on to a different place or to a different location, right? As the environment is somewhat threatened, definitely they will move on to a different place. Okay, so our ancestors, even though those methods are pretty much old, our ancestors used, you know, like eco-friendly methods of pest controlling. Nowadays, most of the times we control pest by applying agrochemicals, chemical substances mainly. We apply chemical substances and we destroy the pests. So that thing is not that much good. It's because that if you apply these agrochemicals in too much extent, then it would harm the consumer as well. The one who is going to consume these fruits or plantations, right? for that people also, or for that organism also, definitely these will harm, right? So you know that nowadays there are several serve conditions like the diseases which are not getting spreaded. These things are also called as non-contagious diseases. So non-contagious diseases are like spreading widely around our society. The main reason would be, there can be the main reason may be the consumption of vegetables and fruits that are heavily applied with chemical substances. That may be a problem. Okay, so always it's better to use plantation and agriculture, right? With like most of the times, if you can use like without any chemicals, if you can use a biofertilizer, then it is much better. In nowadays, if you visit to a certain a supermarket, there is a certain column. Within that column you can observe organic plantation or organic harvests. What do you mean by organic harvest? This organic harvest means they are using plant and animal parts only. There are no any chemical substances which are being added to the harvest. Okay, so most of the people tend to buy out these things. These can be observed within the supermarkets, right? Organic vegetables, organic fruits, and so on. It's because people tend to buy out these things as they are less with poisonous substances. Actually, not less. There are no any poisonous substances as they are organic. As organic fertilizers are being used, organic chemicals are being used. Then those things are not that much poisonous. So our ancestors used these methods, right? Early people, they haven't got any chemical substances. No, chemical substances developed recently with the development of information technology and the science, right? But in the earlier case, right, but in the earlier times, my dear children, there was no that much of enough information technology development with the science and technology. So therefore, the people who lived in that era used eco-friendly methods of pest controlling methods. So those things are pretty much important for the equilibrium of our biosphere and for the survival of biosphere as well. And also consuming those types of harvest is also good for our health as well. Right then. So you are given with an assignment to study about the traditional methods. So find and list out the traditional methods used in past to control different stages of pests. Write your ideas on the importance of those traditional methods. Right. So we have to find out traditional methods of controlling pests. Okay. Traditional methods of controlling pests. Then we have to write down what is the importance of traditional methods. Okay. So I'll write down like 3 or 4, my dear children, because you have to engage in this assignment. So I'll mention like 3 or 4 for your for your like support. You find out even more. Okay, for each of these 2 I'll mention 3. Find out more. Okay, find out more. So you have to list out the traditional methods used in the past to control different stages of pests. Means that traditional pest controlling methods. Traditional methods of pest control. Traditional methods of pest control. My dear children, there is a plant called margosa, right? There is a plant which is referred as a margosa, Margosa plant is a medicinal plant. If you take the leaves, their leaves are very bitter in taste. Okay, this margosa plant leaves, right, is being crushed into several, it's been crushed into is being crushed by using several containers, and that juice is taken out. Then these juices are being spreaded on the agricultural lands or in plantation in order to protect from pests. It helps to protect from pest, because pest will not come because of that bad odor and bad smell. It has those kinds of properties. Okay, margosa. Then sometimes this thing also being used in nowadays as well. For the banana, if you take banana, now banana is being affected, right? Banana is being affected dramatically by different organisms like fruit fly and even by monkeys. So to avoid this case, banana is being covered, banana fruit is covered. When the banana fruit is going to come, when the banana comb is going to come out from the plant, right, farmers are going to spread with cow dung. Farmers are going to spread cow dung on the banana comb, not in just one comb but all over the banana fruit. So it helps to keep away the pest from these banana fruits. Okay, so one thing is applying, right, juice of margosa leaves for the plantation. By that way we can control pests. Then my dear children, applying cow dung on the plantations like banana, on the harvest of banana, to avoid from fruit flies. Okay, then sometimes citronella plants, citrus plants, the juices taken from citrus plants are also going to destroy pests, right, as they have like a good odor, right, and an acidic nature. So because of they having an acidic nature and a good odor, these things or these substances can be used to destroy insects. Okay, sometimes farmers are adding ash onto the leaves and the plants. This ash is also considered as a pest controlling method, right? Pest controlling methods. So these are the traditional ways, my dear children, which the farmers or the ancestors used in order to control pests. Right. So I'll write down 3. You find out even more. Okay. Right. So traditional methods of pest control: applying margosa leaf juice on harvest. Number 2, applying juices of citrus plants. Applying juices of citrus plants on harvest. Right? Applying juices of citrus plants on harvest. Then number 3, applying ash. Right? Applying ash on plants. Right? Applying ash on plants. Right? So these are the ways, these are the methods that used by ancestors to successfully control pests from their plantation, my dear children, from the harvest. Okay, right. So instead of harvest, I'll here mention as the plantation. It's good, no? Plants, right? Right. So these are some methods used by our ancestors in order to protect their plantation or agriculture from pests. Then the second one, write your ideas on the importance of those traditional methods. Importance. The first and foremost importance is, my dear children, the eco-friendliness. It's eco-friendly, environment friendly, right? It's environment friendly because we are not using chemical substances. Our water bodies will not be contaminated by these substances as they are very, as they are not that much harmful, right? So these substances are eco-friendly. These substances are environment friendly or eco-friendly. Okay, so these methods are eco-friendly. That's the first and foremost importance. Okay, nowadays, if agrochemicals are added like in this kind of an extent, then definitely we won't be able to consume even those harvest. But however, it's no problem. We can wash it for several times and we can consume it without any trouble, right? Okay, so the eco-friendliness is the main advantage of carrying out these steps or these methods, eco-friendliness. And my dear children, if you take the amount or the expense that these methods take and the agrochemicals take, okay, these things are like economical, right? Economical. These things are economical because when using these methods, as you can see here, there are no any large ingredients. Chemical substances are not there. You can just go here and there wandering around the field, then you can find out necessary leaves, then you can crush it and make it to a solution. So you won't be spending any money, right? You won't be spending any money in making these things or making these steps. So my dear children, these things following these ancient methods are economical to us. Okay, these are economical. And the other case is that these things are very easy to use. It's very convenient and very easy to use, right? It's not that much difficult. And if you take a vial or else a bottle of a agrochemical, there are several things to do. First of all, there is a there is a way of mixing. There is a proportion of mixing. If the mixing proportion is out of range, then it won't be giving us the necessary, or it will not give us necessary results. Okay, so there are sometimes certain things that we need to follow. There are certain other kinds of substances that we need to dissolve in it. So these things are pretty much hard. Hard means not that much easy as these things. These things are pretty much easy. You just take the leaves and crush it and take the juice and spread it. Very simple. However, those things are pretty much different. We have to check the amount of agrochemical which is added. Then we have to check the amount of water and so on. So there are different things that we need to consider. If these proportions or if these ratios are out of the proportion or out of the range, then the necessary results will not be given by that agrochemical or whatever the chemical substance that you are using. So it will be useless. Okay, but however, these methods are very easy to use, right? So we can write our answers, my dear children. So I'll separate this thing. Then we are writing importance. Importance of traditional methods. Importance of traditional methods. So what are the importance, my dear children? Number one, eco-friendly means environment friendly. Eco-friendly. Then number two, cost effective. Cost effective. Then number three, easy to use. Very easy to use. Okay, application is very easy and they are cost effective, and also these things are eco-friendly. Okay, right then. So this is how to control pests by using the knowledge of life cycles, my dear children. Okay, right then. So nowadays there is a special focus on eco-friendly pesticides. So nowadays there is a special, special attention for the eco-friendly pesticides. I told you why is that. Because when you are using agrochemicals, most of the times I told you that there are certain other side effects like contamination of water, then sometimes the favorable organisms for the soil and ones who are fertilizing the soil will also die because of using these fertilizers, because of using these agrochemicals. Okay, so my dear children, there are plus things and as well as bad defects, so minus things as well. However, when using agrochemicals, rather than the plus points, there are several minus points. Okay, so nowadays most of the times farmers are tending to find out eco-friendly methods, right? Eco-friendly methods. So actually not the farmers, but most of the time scientists, they are tending to find out eco-friendly methods of controlling pests. Okay, so nowadays there is a special focus on eco-friendly pesticides. Obtaining knowledge about the preparation and usage of such pesticides causes environmental protection. So I told you that in the earlier case also, environment is getting protected because of using these bio or eco-friendly pesticides, as they are made up with biological materials or else as they are made up with organic materials, right? These things are eco-friendly. Okay, so environment equilibrium and the protection is being kept. So engage in assignment given to study about eco-friendly pesticides. So somewhat similar to the above assignment that we conducted earlier. So here it is given, make a list of eco-friendly pesticides that can be used to control the pest insects. Write the raw materials needed to prepare these pesticides. Now, once again, my dear children, like in the earlier case, we need to write down the eco-friendly pesticide and the ingredients that are being used to create them. Okay, so I'll write down 3 of these examples. At your home, you need to find out even more. Okay, I'll mention 3. Most of the times when an assignment is given, we have to do 50 by 50, no? So I'll do like 50%. You also find out at your home another few things. Okay, so I'll mention 3 for your support. At your home, you conduct these things, you find out some even more good examples and list out your findings. Okay, right. So in the earlier case, my dear children, I think that you could remember so pesticide that we used, number 1, Margosa leaf juice. So raw materials, what are the raw material used? Pretty much simple, my dear children. If we are using Margosa leaves, then Margosa leaves, right? Margosa leaves. This is the ingredient or the raw material used. Then another one, the second one which I've used, number 2, citrus plant juice. So citrus plants are the ones, you know, citronella plants like lime, lemon, orange, those things. So what are the raw materials? Leaves, comma, stem, comma, fruits of so I'll mention here as leaves. Okay, I'll mention as leaves and stems, right? Stems. So stems, leaves, fruits of citrus plants like lime, orange, lemon. Okay, so leaves, stems, fruits of citrus plants like lime, orange and lemon. So to get the citrus plant juice, we use raw materials like this. Then the next one. Right. Number 3. Solution of ash. Solution of ash. So we use water and ash. Right. So my dear children, here you can observe the pesticide, biopesticide or else the eco-friendly pesticide that ancient people used, and the ingredient or the raw materials which used to make these things. Okay, raw materials or the ingredients. So I have written down 3. You have to find out even more. So margosa leaf juice, raw materials which are used are margosa leaves. Citrus plant juice, so leaves, stems, fruits of citrus plants like lime, orange and lemon. Then solution of ash, you need water and ash. That's it. Right. Sometimes for these things also salt is also added sometimes. Right. So my dear children, these are the eco-friendly pesticides that used by the ancient people to protect their plantation from pests. So usage of eco-friendly pesticides are really important. Okay, these things are really important as they are eco-friendly, and as well as they would save the other complications that's going to occur when you are using agrochemicals. Okay, right. Then so these are the ways that we can generate or that we can create eco-friendly pesticides. Right, my dear children, now let's head on to see what are the other contents in our lesson. So usage of chemical pesticides can damage the environment by harming beneficial organisms in the environment. This can throw the whole ecosystem out of balance. So like I said earlier, like I explained earlier, my dear children, I hope that you could remember I told you that when using agrochemicals or chemical substances to control pests, these chemical substances would definitely harm the favorable organisms who are living in the soil. Who is going to fertile the soil? Also going to destroy, because those things are also insects, no? Most of the times, or any other types of organisms, no? However, those things are organisms. So if a poison is added to a certain organism, then it might harm the other organism as well. Right? However, in the earlier cases, those cannot be observed. Okay, right? Here we are controlling the pests, not killing them entirely. But here by applying chemicals, we are killing them totally. So upon killing, my dear children, there is a possibility that we might kill the others as well, favorable organisms. So the whole ecosystem may go out of balance. So it's a terrible situation. So we have to have some kind of a balance mechanism when we are using agrochemicals for sure. Then chemical control should be referred when pests are not controlled by biological control or by simple mechanical methods. We have to go for the chemical method only if we won't be able to control the pest by using eco-friendly methods or biological control methods or by simple mechanical control methods. by simple mechanical control methods or by biological methods, if we can't control the pest, then only we should go for the chemical control methods. Okay, otherwise it's not good to like have the harvest and first of all we have to apply chemicals, all the chemicals, and it's not good, right? First of all we have to check for the alternatives. If there are no alternatives at all, then it's okay to go with the chemical controlling methods, my dear children. However, but we have to minimize it as much as we can. Then these chemicals can accumulate in water, and consuming these contaminated water may cause cancers and kidney diseases. So we discussed this thing in the earlier chapters as well, right? I told you that most of the times these chemicals, right, they would harm our water bodies, because these chemicals with the rain they will travel to water bodies like tanks and streams, and they will get collected on water. Then the whole aquatic environment is getting affected. These chemicals are getting collected with the aquatic environment, and organisms like fish and the aquatic organisms are going to consume. Then those fish are being consumed by us. Like that way these chemicals might finally finish within, or finish they will end up within our body. Okay, so upon collecting these poisonous substances, I told you that non-contagious diseases like cancers, high blood pressure, kidney diseases may spread. So within our society now, there is a tendency of making these diseases. There is a greater tendency in making in a person having these diseases. It's because of their lifestyle, and main reason is the lifestyle and also consumption of these kinds of foods. Okay, right then. When for your extra knowledge part, a special thing is given here. Let's see what is that. When chemical pesticides are used in fruits and vegetables, it is important to not to harvest them until the recommended period. If they are harvested before the safe period, the toxic chemicals enter to human body. Accumulation of these toxic chemicals for a long time in the body leads to diseases such as cancer, kidney diseases. Therefore, it is very important to wash the fruits and vegetables well before consuming. Now, when chemical pesticides are used in fruits and vegetables, it is important not to harvest them until the recommended period. Now, there is a certain time period which the chemical is going to, dissolute. So, to dissolute, there is a certain time period. There is a certain time period that we have to keep these plants or whatever the harvest. But however, if the harvest is plucked before that time period, then my dear children, these chemicals definitely will come with that fruits or vegetables. So consuming these fruits and vegetables more often and more often will definitely cause cancers and kidney diseases, as these chemicals are getting accumulated within our body. So in order to, we don't know whether the time period, whether the necessary, whether that time period is kept or not, no, we actually don't know. So wisest thing to do is, if you are buying vegetables from a certain different place, wash those vegetables and fruits very well, okay, very well before consuming, right? If it is better, right, if you can, it is better to wash them with some amount of, some kind of hot water, up to a certain level, right, or else salt water, then it would be better, because salt water or hot water can be used to dissolve those substances quite faster. Okay, so remember this thing, my dear children, it's very important right? When you are taking these vegetables and fruits from our outer market, make sure to wash these things very well before the consumption, okay, as there can be different chemical substances within these things. Right then, so another assignment is given, my dear children. Design a poster to show the bad effects of using chemical pesticides. So I told you several things, several bad effects of consuming chemical pesticides. So what you have to do at your home, do a special assignment about these chemical pesticides. Find out their bad effects rather than the ones I have told you. You can include those things as well. But however, if you can find out even more, then find out those things. Then prepare a poster, right? By applying beautiful figures and pictures, right, and different phrases you can include within your poster and apply and make a good poster, okay, so that you can paste it at your home, or else in a different place, in a public place, or else if you want you can even paste it at your school classroom as well. So find out about these things, my dear children. It's important for you guys to study about these things, because you are the ones who are going to take our country to a better position in the near future. So you should have an ability to, right, you should have an ability to select the most accurate methods, especially environmental friendly methods, right? So find out several harmful effects of using chemical substances to the environment, okay. So I hope that you got a good knowledge about pest controlling regarding the life cycles of the organisms lesson part. Right, okay. So my dear children, with that thing we came to the end of another chapter, right? So within this chapter we discussed all the things related to the pest controlling methods, right? So here we mainly focused on the life cycles of organisms, and we discussed how to control the pests using the knowledge of life cycles. Now in the next chapter we'll be discussing even more things related with the lesson. Especially we are discussing other importances, right? Other useful things, right? Other useful things that we can get by studying these life cycles of organisms. So we'll discuss the other useful things in our next chapter.